get more on this and speak to Jamela Aisha, who is there for us in Manila. Jamila, he wasn't the only one taken by this group. As we heard there were 3 other hostages. What has happened to them, and what is being done about getting them released?
Well, at this point, the fate of the rest of them, the 3 of them, the 3 others are still unknown. They were taken late last year in Jamela Island, about hours and hours away, far from the area where they were brought. There was initially an April 8 deadline to kill one of the hostages, but that was extended April 25. Now, what happened was there were reports that the ransom was in fact brought, but it never reached the group of the Abu Sayyaf. It's important to note that the group that is holding these groups are actually Isnilon Hapnilon, who is one of the founding members of the Abu Sayyaf, and his faction was the ones that pledged allegiance to IS. The reports already late last night from Manila time that the parts of the body has already been found in Holosulu. It's a lawless area, and that is where most of those who have been taken from Sabah, from other outlying islands, hostages are brought. That is actually the center of the Abu Sayyaf group.
Well, tell us more about this group, because I believe the Philippine government have been fighting them for over 15 years, which is longer than Daesh have been around. So who exactly are they, and why is it so hard to eliminate them?
Well, the problem with Abu Sayyaf is that when they started more than 15 years ago, they started as an ideological group. They wanted to set up a Sharia republic at the southern part of the Philippines, where majority of Filipino Muslims actually stay. However, over the course of 10 years, they've turned from an ideological group to a kidnap for ransom group. And during election season, which is now at this point, the number of kidnapping actually go up, because there are reports that they also have links and connections to local politicians. So this is nothing but a money-making operation for so many of these syndicates on the ground. Another issue to look at, what makes it very difficult to combat, is narco-terrorism. This is a new breed of Abu Sayyaf fighters. They're born into war, raised into that. They come from the poor sector of community, so radicalization is so much easier to do in those areas. This is the area where a lot of journalists don't go. I think from what we know, according to the Philippine government, the Abu Sayyaf is holding more than 22 foreign hostages at the moment. That doesn't even include the local ones that are not being reported. So it's harder for the government to combat, because it really is rooted, at the cost of it is really poverty. They need to have a holistic approach towards going after the Abu Sayyaf, to develop the area, to make sure that poverty does not become the source of issues for so many of these recruits. And they're very young, some of them as young as 17 to 20 years old. They're recruited early from the communities. They're born into war and raised into this kind of life.
Okay, Jamila, many thanks for that. Jamela Aisha there for us in Manila.